Well, good afternoon, viewers. Today we have a 2005 Mini Cooper. Apparently it wouldn't start yesterday. Customer was driving it and parked it and came out the next morning and it was a crank no start condition. Now the customer had a little bit of knowledge to pay attention to things like the check engine light and the tach, and he said the tach was working and the check engine light came on with the key, but he didn't know to listen for the fuel pump. So I'm going to turn the key off, wait 5 seconds, turn the key back on. Now the fuel pump didn't run, so I predict it's not going to start. And he said that he Googled the problem and he hit the fuel tank and the fuel pump ran. And then the vehicle started and he was able to drive it here. So I suspect there's a problem with the fuel pump itself, or actually the fuel pump relay if it has one. Let's have a look at the electrical circuit. So the fuel pump's underneath the back seat. So you can just pop the back seat cushion out, pop these plastic clips off the back of the back seat, and access the pump through this access hole with 5 10 mil nuts. And this has got to slide over, I believe. It's full of dust. So you got to kind of slide it over while you pry it up. You need 2 hands. So I'm assuming that these 2 large diameter pins or large gauge wires are the fuel pump control wires. The small ones are for the level sensor and probably a temp sensor. Could be a temp sensor or level sensor in there. So I'm going to put a headlight across the white blue wire and the looks like brown wire. I got to get a couple terminals. So I've connected the headlight across the 2 middle terminals, and now I'm going to put the key in the ignition and turn it on. This is a bit of a awkward position here. And as I suspected, the fuel pump prime circuit. So we're going to order up a fuel pump for this. Not going to take it out until I have the part because I don't want to fill the car up with gasoline fumes. So in case you're wondering, this is the fuel pump we opted for. We ordered it from Rock Auto because it was just as fast to get it from them and a third of the price compared to buying it locally here. This was over $1,000 locally. So I vacuumed the loose dust from around the top of the fuel pump here. The fuel line is internal, and there's an electrical connection inside apparently too. We've got a new fuel pump from Rock Auto. There we go. So there's a fuel line that we have to release and an electrical connection we have to release. This is hard on the knee, boy. So there is a plastic release. It's really hard to show you, and an electrical connector that needs to be unplugged. And then you can pull the fuel pump assembly out without hopefully spilling gas all over the inside of the cab of the vehicle. Okay, I gotta get out of here. So on the fuel supply line or the pressure line, there's a secondary lock you have to push away from it. Then there's a squared tab on this side that you have to depress, and I use these pinching pliers, but it's hard to do because I can't show you. Make sure you don't lose this thing down the line. It'll fall down the line somewhat. So we gotta look in the bottom of the tank for any sand and debris. It looks nice and clean inside there, so I think the pumps just failed. Not gonna lie, that was a challenge. So there's a plastic gray hose that clips into the... I left this O-ring off until after because it's just gets in the way. Make sure it's seated all the way around. And then we'll put the ring back on. I think that's probably good. Now the electrical plug I tucked up forward here so we can pull it back into play. Put some dielectric grease around this. Well, the pump is supposed to run now when I turn the key on. Let's see if it does. Contact. I heard it run. Let's see if it starts. Beautiful. Now we just put the seat back together and we should be good to go.